Now I'd like to switch gears and talk about ArcGIS Online, which is our go-to SaaS offering for your mapping platform. It's heavily utilized. There's over, 7 million users. That's such a high number, right? It's amazing. 7 million users for ArcGIS Online, creating billions of views for the maps. It's amazing. We're continually upgrading this platform to make sure that it's mobile first, mobile ready. We've also included a new map viewer that's in beta right now that we're going to be highlighting a little bit later. And we've listened to your feedback, and coming soon, expect to see organization to organization hosting or sharing, collaboration, as well as regional hosting. We know that that means a lot to you for those of you who need it, so stay tuned, that is coming. Now, StoryMaps, many of you have heard of StoryMaps. Show of hands, how many of you have heard of StoryMaps? Excellent.
Everyone.
I would expect to see that large of a number of people who have heard of it because it's so popular. We have almost 3,000 new StoryMaps being created every single day. So StoryMaps are something within ArcGIS Online to build compelling narratives. Whether or not you have GIS in your title, it allows people to leverage these tools to tell their story utilizing maps and applications. As well as the rest of our platform, we're taking a mobile-first approach when developing and extending StoryMaps, and we have some new updates to show you in this as well. I mentioned earlier we have a map viewer experience in beta right now for ArcGIS Online. As we've been incrementally evolving ArcGIS Online and making improvements, one thing has stayed the same, and that's the viewer experience. And we needed to make some changes to provide you better tools and a better interface for that. So stay tuned, we'll be showing that to you. Let's take a look.
Let's do it. Even though the map viewer is in beta, you can all access it right now. You can go to your ArcGIS Online organization and choose Map Viewer Beta from the app launcher, or you can select an existing piece of content, like a web map, click the 3 dots, and open it in Map Viewer Beta. So right away, you're going to notice a pretty different looking layout, and I'd actually like to open a different map. This one instead. There we go. So we're seeing a very map-focused middle panel, and along the left-hand side, this is where we'll control everything that goes into the map. So the layers, the base map, the legend, and bookmarks, as well as saving and sharing. On the right-hand side are all the tools that you'll use to control the data that you are showcasing. So the first thing I'd like to do is change my base map to dark gray canvas because I know I'm going to be highlighting some data and I really want it to pop on this minimalist background. Now I'm going to add in a layer that's in my organization. However, it's also part of the Living Atlas. So any of you could go home and do this exact same workflow today by leveraging this data from the Living Atlas. I'm hearing a bit of noise. Now, once I add this popular demographics data to the map, you can see it renders lightning fast. That was almost instantaneous. And changing the transparency, we're seeing the responsiveness of the map viewer right away. This data is showing us the estimated population in 2018 and the expected growth rate heading into 2023. So now I just want to change how this data is rendering on the map, as distinct counties isn't telling me much about it. The first thing I'll do is represent my data by a different field. And you'll notice that there is a search bar. So demographic data also has many, many columns, and it can be a pain to scroll through and find the one that you want. I want to use 2018 total population to represent my data. There we go. Add that there. And now Smart Mapping is going to take over and use the counts and amounts style to show me the highest populations in 2018 by county. However, I would like to look instead at the dot density symbology type. This is a great way to make your data personal. It's going to show you dots representing a certain number of people living in the area. And some of these areas here are so highly populated that they look almost opaque. But as I zoom in, I see it's dynamic, and each dot now represents 425 people living in the county. And zooming in even further, now 1 dot, 213 people. So this is a really powerful way to understand data that has some sort of personal component to it. Now, if I want to replace this field that I'm using my symbology on, I can just replace it by searching for something else. So this time I'd like to focus on the growth rate. And I'll replace that, and the map is now going to change into a different symbology type based on smart mapping. So smart mapping is so smart that it chose this color ramp based on the fact that I was using a dark background. MapViewer Beta has over 300 color ramps, and some of them are meant for folks with visual disabilities like color blindness, and there's lots of different choices for you to optimize how the map is going to look based on what data is already present. So thanks, Smart Mapping. I think this looks quite nice. However, there's something I'm missing in my data, and that's the ability to understand, okay, even though these lighter areas represent higher expected growth rate, how many net people does that mean? Because in a more rural area, perhaps in North Dakota, there could be fewer net people expected to move into that area, maybe thousands, versus in a major metropolitan area, that growth rate could represent even hundreds of thousands of people. So I'm going to add an expression. I'll create a new attribute expression here in my arcade editor, and this is subtracting the 2018 population from the 2023 population. And now Smart Mapping has taken over again and suggested that I keep this, I'm using the color ramps to still look at growth rate, but now I have the counts and amount style to show me the areas where the greatest number of people are expected to move. So right away I'm seeing some large circles in metro areas of Texas, large circles here at home and also around Phoenix, and that's really fascinating to me to understand. So pop-ups have long been a cornerstone of great web maps, and now I want to look at Metro Salt Lake City and create a pop-up that's a little bit more compelling. Right now, we just see the attributes and the name of the county. However, I would like to create a pop-up that tells a bit more of a story. So you now have the option to mix and match content. It's not a series of choices, do I want attributes or media. You can mix and match in any order that you like by choosing Add Content. I, in this case, am going to add some text. And now I'll see a lot more compelling narrative about this particular county. So we're seeing in 2018, Salt Lake County had this population. It's expected to grow this much into 2023. And you'll notice that the pop-up changed right away. I didn't have to click save, apply, okay. So that's a really nice aspect of MapViewer Beta. Now I'm going to save my map and talk about ways that I could share this map in our new StoryMaps experience. I'll start a story here. And like Sarah mentioned, everything is designed for mobile first.
Okay, so I'm going to let Nicole step through making this story map. I do want to mention, prior to working for Esri, I actually worked in county government for over a decade. And what I love most about the implementation of story maps is the people using them, they don't have to have GIS in their title. So when I worked at the county, people in the planning department, people in public works, people in public health can utilize these tools, this browser-based environment, this drag and drop, and typing in simple text and adding images to tell their compelling story. I do want to highlight, although we're talking about a lot of great new things in story maps, your classic story map templates have not gone away. They're still available. We just want you to know that we have additional capabilities, and they're so cool. So as she's finishing this, you'll notice it's incorporating the map that she just created, charts, graphs, other information.
Would you like to see a finished product?
Let's see the finished product. So as you can see, lots of images, lots of text. I want to point out here, we have something new in Story Maps called a sidecar. So on the panel on the right, as Nicole is scrolling through that sidecar panel, you'll notice the images and maps on the left update. What a really great user experience, right? To bring people through your story. Throughout the rest of the story map, you'll notice charts, graphs, other familiar items and resources that we use currently in story maps. At the very bottom, though, we added something new called a slideshow. So when you start the slideshow in a story map, it fills the screen and steps the user through your story. Again, a really great enhancement for the overall user experience. So with ArcGIS Online in the new Map Viewer beta, it is in beta, so kick the tires, go out and use it. It's not scary. We're adding in new capabilities that aren't there currently, so please try it out, give us your feedback so that we can make it better for you. With story maps, know that we have a lot of new capabilities. Share these capabilities with others in your organization. Amplify your GIS. Be that ripple effect to empower other users in your organization to leverage tools such as ArcGIS Online and StoryMaps.